So we're at episode 12 and we're making progress. So I'm not looking forward for the rust I'm going to find in the roof. And I did a major amount of blowing and vacuuming to get this ready for treatment. But later on you're going to see how bad it was. I'm making underneath look pretty, and I've got my QA1 adjustable shocks, which allows me to raise and lower it to some extent. So that's really cool. I'm going to start doing a little bit of the work inside the car. Here you see that I've welded up all the body moulding holes, and I did had a magnet on the inside with a brass plate and to weld up my holes. So that's coming along quite nicely.
Well, I've welded up all the body moulding holes. And I'll use some fiberglass reinforced Bondo just to do the first skim, or maybe just regular quality body filler, the gold standard, and that should work out quite well. I didn't want any badges on the front. I just want a smooth finish, so I welded up those holes too. So today I'm going to weld up some of the tabs I did on the seats. I think I only spot welded a few of them, so I'll make sure that they're all welded correctly. Take the seats over to Samantha and Gemma's shop, ready for them to reupholster, and then I'm going to weld the bottom of the rear fenders. They need to be cut out and re-welded, and weld the patch over where the old filler cap was, and finish repairing this, and a little bit there at the front, and then do the other side, and then I'll get started on the rust. There's some rust in the roof, and there's Bondo in here and here, so I'm a little bit worried about how to approach that right next to the window, and I don't want to pull the window out, but we'll get that sorted. And then that's it, and then prime it, block sand it, paint it. I've got the bows from the front to the back. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, this is how I took this apart. First, I took the screws out of this outer trim here, and then I took the screws out of this like seal thing here, which that is going to be hard to replace. And now there's some side screws in this white thing, which I'm going to take that out, and then this will come out, and then this metal chrome trim piece will come out. All right, I'm getting around to doing quite an important step in here. And so what I've done is I've stripped down the inside And yeah, we have surface rust in here, and we even have some holes and stuff, but nothing really structural. So we obviously don't want that to continue to rot. So we've scraped it, blown it out with air lines, wire brushed it, etc, etc. And now I'm going to Ospho it, which neutralizes the rust, and it is actually really effective. So I'm going to spray everything down with Ospho and let it neutralize the rust, and then I'll come back and spray it, or I'll brush paint the bits to seal it with a rust inhibiting paint, and that'll seal everything. And all this goes behind trim, headliner, etc. So I'm not really concerned about it looking amazingly pretty after I've sprayed it and painted it. It's going to look not bad, but I'm just interested in neutralizing the rust and enjoying this car, and my kids enjoying it and the grandkids enjoying it for years to come. And this will do that. As you can see, we replaced the whole bottom of the car, even the firewall. So that was really rusted out, and obviously structural and needed to be replaced. This, not so much. Alright, I've saturated everything with Ospho, and I used probably about 1.5 to 2 quarts, and just soaked everything. I did the floor previously, that's why it's turned black like that, and I have to finish painting it, and I'll paint the rest of the inside either silver with that rust inhibiting paint, or black. Like I said, it's covered with trim and everything in headliner anyway. And then what I'll do with the dash, I'm going to cut out for the Apple Play 7x5 screen or whatever it is, so that fits in there, fit that in there, and then I'll sand that down and prime it and get it ready for paint. And so I'll paint the inside first and scuff the dash, finish the dash, and scuff all the door jambs and everything and the inside of the doors. And then I'll probably spray the dash, the exterior colour, and around the door jambs and everything. And then I'll do my wiring and put all my gauges in and stuff. That way the car's movable and I can drive it, and once all the doors and stuff are closed and masked off, then I can concentrate on the outside of the car. And then at the very end, I'll put my soundproofing carpet and headliner in, and then the seats. I'll put the seats in temporarily if I'm moving it around, but the very last thing I'll do is the carpet and the headliner and the door panels. But hopefully by the end of next week I'll have it painted inside and the dash finished, and then I'll concentrate on the outside of the car, which I've already, I've done the whole bottom of the car and welded up the holes where the trim went on, and I've got some body work to do on the outside. I've got to cut the bottom of the quarters out, replace those, do a bit around the doors, and I've got quite a lot of rust on the edges of the roof, so I'm going to have to cut that out and replace that, and do a little bit of body filler in, prime it, block sand it, prime it, paint it, and hopefully another 8 weeks or so I should have it finished. Mechanically I've got it running perfectly, just have to put all my gauges, speakers, music in and stuff, and maybe clean up the chrome a bit more.
Yeah, I know I look scruffy. Always looking scruffy when I'm working on my cars. I do clean up though.
Right, car's come along really good. I raised the back a few inches because it was a little bit low. Or if I have a full load of people and trunk full of gas, so that should be perfect now. The middle of the headlights and the middle of the backlights hit exactly at the same height as Maximilian's monster car. The door is a couple of inches lower because the roof line's lower. My fin sits 4 inches higher than his fin because the fins are bigger. But headlights and backlights are exactly the same height. So if you look at the front of the cars and the back of the cars, they'll look perfectly aligned with each other. So it's got a nice look on the back. As high as it is, it somehow looks in proportion. I've kind of sealed everything inside now. I osphode it and then use a rust treated paint. So today I'm going to work on customizing the dash to fit all my gauges. And then I'll basically go around, weld up all the little holes, body holes on this side, do a little bit more welding that I need to do on some of the panels. Fix the drip rail and start doing my outer body work, priming, block sanding, getting it nice and straight, ready for paint.
So I'm looking up under the dash here, and I'm trying to figure out the best way to mount an aluminum panel that I'm making to fit in there. And kind of you can hear my the cogs clicking over in my brain, kind of deciding the best way to do this. Also how visible it might be, because it's quite high from people standing outside the car looking in. Anyway, you'll see what I did in a minute.
I've been customizing my dash, and I've made a aluminum insert for here with my speedo and my lights in it, and then all my gauges go in here, and then I'm putting a 2-DIN Apple Play system in there, and so I'm welding up the old radio hole there. So I just made a metal patch for it, so I'm going to weld that in, and then I'm going to weld these holes up on either side of the Apple Play so it's a clean strip across the middle of the dash. And I'm going to weld from the inside the brackets which the Apple Play bolt to, and then I'll just grind these little things off and deal with that, and then I'll sand and prime the whole dash ready for painting. I've done my mounting holes for my tack, and I've got a bracket which goes around the steering wheel, and I've made a bracket for my adjustable steering column, and this is the brake system out of the truck, real smooth operating, and the pedals and the whole foot pedal assembly is out the truck. So it's really cool. Put a shifter in here, floor shifter in it, and I'm going to weld some brackets up on the roof. These beams are quite thick, almost made like a built-in roll cage. So I'm going to weld a plate to there with the nut for the shoulder belts, and they'll be secured through a bolt through here. So I have an inertia shoulder belt to make it nice and safe. But combined with the modern brakes and everything, and how I basically built the body around a frame and then bolted it to a track frame, this car is going to be incredibly strong. Not quite sure what it weighs, probably about 5,000 pounds I'm guessing. We'll see. So I'm halfway through welding this patching and it's going very nicely. I've also, you can see the heat marks through there where I've actually welded the bracket for the 2-din off, and I'll pull those screws out and just weld the little holes up. But so the metal thickness of the dash, I'm guessing, is about 20 gauge. It's pretty thin, so obviously I don't want to burn through it, so I've set my weld at 20 gauge. And my patch is a little bit thicker, and I did that on purpose, because if I kind of weld, the patch will absorb a little bit of the heat better. And as you can see, I'm just doing little spot welds on it, and just getting them closer and closer together, and until they're connected, and then I'll lightly grind it down, and when I do a little bit of filler in there and some primer, it should look very good. So it's coming along quite nicely, and that's how I do it. Right, so I've welded that in, and I've welded up the holes up there, and a slight smear of filler, and that should suffice. I'm just about to weld up these holes.
I know there's a lot of people out there restoring their cars, and some amateur restorers do just a beautiful job, and the skill level is amazing. And then there's other people who have very limited facilities out in their gardens or backyards restoring their cars, and you know, they make very fun vehicles as well. And I know my restorations aren't perfect, but I'm just hoping that they appeal to quite a broad selection.